My father and I did it while I was sleeping. Hello everyone. I am Kakshan, 27 years old. I am a girl living in a family in a quiet small town, mossy red, and the atmosphere is always the fragrance of flowers and flowers. After my mother died of cancer, my father, Mr. Zitter, became the only support in my life. He just became a father just as a mother. One day I even worked as my husband, with both love and silent sacrifice. I missed the childhood nights, when Mr. Zitter sat by the bed, telling me the fairy tales. His warm voice always calmed all the fear in my heart. In the old days, in a distant kingdom, he began, while his hand gently stroked my hair, helping me to fall asleep peacefully. Every weekend, they baked apple cake together. Zitter always smiled when I looked at me struggling to knead the dough. The face of the flour and the sweet aroma of the ripe apple grabbed the air in the small kitchen. Those were warm moments, where I felt infinite love of his father. Every afternoon, the father and son often sit on the bench in front of the porch, watching the sun set after the immense green hills. I often say, life may not be perfect, but our love spans on for each other will always be the lamp. Those words became a guideline in my life, making me always cherish the simple but valuable things. For me, my father is not only a nurturing but also a symbol of strength and unconditional love. Time passes, those beautiful memories are still living in my heart, as a source of energy accumulated. Extreme, lifting me on every journey of life. At the age of 20, I first left my father's arms to enter a new life at a vocational training school in a big city. My emotions were a mess, eagerness about new things, mixed with anxiety about unknown challenges. The city where I came to live and study very vibrant, with crowded roads, brilliant neon lights and hustle pace, completely different with the peace and simplicity that I am familiar in my hometown. In the early days, I went to a new environment. The challenging classes, dense schedules, and toddlers make me feel lost sometimes. Homesickness when I return to the narrow room, overlooking the window frame to see the city lights that silently long for peaceful evenings with his father, listening to his warm storytelling voice. When faced with the pressure of studying and the feeling of loneliness in a strange place, I often called home, listening to the warm father's voice advised, "Be strong, daughter. Every challenge will pass, and I will grow more from the difficulties." These words of encouragement always add strength to me. I started to learn how to be independent, take care of myself, and build a new life. However, in my heart, the silhouette of my father and the peace of my hometown is always the place where she finds when she feels weak. Initially, when I entered the profession, I felt like I belonged to another world. The surrounding friends seemed to be energetic, always busy with gathering, parties and plans to explore the city. The lively, flashy lifestyle made me feel strange and a little afraid. I often refused to invite invitations to participate in overtime activities, instead spending time in the motel room, reviewing or calling back the house talks to his father. However, over time, curiosity about the new life gradually pulled me out of my cover. Once, I reluctantly accepted an invitation to join a weekend meeting with a group of friends in the class. That was the first time I really feel the cohesion and joy of immersing in the collective. Not only are the crisp laughter from the soft drinks, but also the feeling of listening, welcoming as part of a community. I started to change. Stressful lessons are gradually balanced with overtime activities. I participated in parties, improvised picnic trips, and tested many new things that she had never thought of before, from joining the dance club to the preparation learning. These experiences helped me expand my vision and enrich my life. From a somewhat naive girl, only familiar with the peace of my hometown, I gradually grown up, becoming a person who dared to step out of the safe area to explore myself. However rarely, she still remembered her father and the simple but full of love at home, like a lamp leading to her heart. In a birthday party of my classmate, I first felt the strange beat of my heart. The atmosphere of the party was vibrant, with shimmering lights, music resounded in space, and the bustling laughter. Among the crowd, my gaze suddenly stopped at a guy standing near the drinking bar. He looks attractive but not noisy, with a gentle smile and speaking eyes. When being introduced by friends, I know his name is Mears, a practitioner above. The two talked strangely naturally. It seemed that the noisy world around faded, leaving me a warm and nervous feeling. Mears was not only fascinated by the appearance but also by understanding, gentle in the way he listened to me about his life. It was the first time she felt a special connection with someone. The change of me not only from the new experiences but also from the emotions she began to explore through meetings with Mears. In the first year of the profession, I changed from a shy girl, often shy at new things, becoming a confident person and dared to face the challenge. I started to participate in many extracurricular activities, did not hesitate to speak in the classroom and even try the school's skilled competitions. Each new step is an affirmation, helping me to become more mature and stronger. However, the immature emotions with Mears are always part of the mature journey, making me feel that love can be a source after a turbulent and exploring school year, when I return home in the summer. The bus leaving the noisy city, taking me back to the small town with the familiar roads full of trees. The atmosphere here carries the breath of peace, completely opposite to the chaos. The heat of life in vocational schools. When I walked through the faded wooden gate over the years, I saw my father, Mr. Zitter, standing there with a warm smile, raising my hand to welcome me home. My father, because I was bringing an adult woman's body home. The summer days passed in peace I have longed for. My father and I often sit together in the shadow of the old tree in the garden, where we used to talk when I was young. Growing up. I just want you to live a life that I dream of, he said, his eyes filled with love. I also told my father about the experiences at the vocational schools, the new friends, the challenges and the first emotions that I had experienced. Father and son baked apple cakes, the sweet fragrance like dragging. I returned to my childhood days, when everything was simple and peaceful. The moment I watched my father fall asleep on the old chair in the living room, my hair was misty and my face clearly the traces of time, I felt more deeply than ever for myself. In my heart, my father is always a silent hero, a great father with an unconditional love. And that summer, I realized that even though life changed, my heart would always stick with this small house, where the most loved father in life. Great resources to discover themselves and rise in life. After the summer, when I was closer to my father, I started to look at my father with a strange eye. I realized that, during the years of growing up, I always considered him as a devoted father, but now I feel another aspect, his strength, resilience and confidence, a strength strong that I had never paid attention before. The stories of the father told in peaceful conversations suddenly became more vivid. I imagined that he was a young man, a courageous man, overcome the difficulties to build life, and never subdued before adversity. I realized that his sacrifice gave me a one. Life is peaceful, but that also means he has abandoned a lot of personal dreams and ambitions. However, along with that admiration is the complex emotions that gradually arise, making me feel confused. I started to wonder if I was doing enough to respond to my father's love and sacrifice, or I just received it and never really understood him. That concern makes me sometimes feel uncomfortable, especially when thinking about the future and the path I am pursuing. There were nights when I lying in the room, gaze monitoring through the window frame watching the starry sky, full of contradictory thoughts. I love my father but also feels pressure by that love. It is not the pressure he put on me, but the pressure I put on myself when I realized how deep his love was. That emotion is not easy to disappear, but gradually, I understand that admiration and gratitude are not necessarily associated with the feeling of heavy. What I need to do is to appreciate the present, and show my father that, even though I grow up and explore the world, my father is always the most important person in my heart. One weekend afternoon, when I was enjoying the summer vacation at home, I decided to spend some time to relax by bathing warm water after a long day. I think my father is still busy in the garden as usual, so I don't lock the bathroom door. But unexpectedly, Mr. Zitter completed his work earlier than expected and entered the house to find me. When he accidentally opened the bathroom door, both dumbfounded for a few seconds. I, in panic and confused, shouted, "Father, go out now!" My face was flushed, and Mr. Zitter could not hide his embarrassment. He stammered and apologized and hurriedly closed the door, leaving there in the embarrassment. After the incident, the indoor air became heavier than usual. During dinner, the father and son tried to talk as usual, but it was obvious that there was an awkward distance between them. I felt ashamed, and Mr. Zitter seemed anxious, not knowing what to do to break this shy silence. That night, when I was sitting in the room, I heard the knock on the door. My father entered with a sincere expression. "Father, apologize," he said, his voice low but full of apology. "I do not mean to be awkward. I just don't think you are in it." Father's sincerity calmly felt confused in her heart. "It's okay, Father. It's just that I did not expect this to happen again," she answered, trying to smile to dispel the tense air. Although that moment left the shyness between the two, it also helped them understand that love and sympathy can overcome even the most awkward situations. Unexpectedly, the relationship between father and daughter has always been built on the basis of understanding and respecting each other. After a period of returning to the same time, when I went to bed, I felt myself being uncomfortable. I had loomed all my things and drunk. I forgot to close the door. My father went to the shower to go to my room. I was like a mouth. Eat very delicious. My father could not be rolled into my room. I did not know anything about my father. Looking for a while, my father's face was flushed red. My father did not let me teach. Father brought his father's animal into that place. I heard like a blade cut their mind. I woke up. At fault because my father could not control it. I realized that the fluctuations in my mind are not only admiration for my father but also the confusion of my role in family relationships. Those mixed emotions made me unable to sleep, always wondering if I was on the right direction. One evening she sat in the room. The light yellow light shone down on the pages of the diary. I wrote down my thoughts. Sometimes, emotions can lead us to get lost. But it is the reason that the guideline helps us to return to the right path. I decided to talk frankly with my father. "Father," I started, the voice was calm. "I think sometimes our emotions can be confused. But it is important that we need to keep respect and balance in the relationship." My father was silent for a while, and then nodded. "You're right. Family love is sacred. We don't let anything hurt it." From there, I learned that, sometimes emotions can get lost, but the opposite and overcoming them is a way to protect the important things in life. I realized that the value is really in respect and preservation of important relationships, not to let the temptations flee to destroy everything. I can hear the stories that have the same secret.